to Liam's Corner, and today we are kicking off a very special episode. So, uh, going that deep into a topic that everyone might know, but not everyone understand. So, how to discover your passion in a fast-moving and digital world. And throughout this episode today, we welcome a special guest who is the founder and Executive Director of Doctor Intrinsics and also the public speaker. So, hi, welcome to our talk show today. And could you please introduce a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I am so happy to be here. My name's Adil Mukhi. I am currently located in Mississauga, Ontario, in Canada. And a little intro to me. So, if you see my tagline, it says public speaker, youth advocate, and change maker. And I feel like those three words define me the most. In terms of being a public speaker, I come to events, I speak, I deliver keynotes, and usually a lot of the events I go to are related to youth. So that might be about our rights, that might be about what we need right now in our communities, it might just be about a celebration or something. But a lot of my work does focus around mental health, around access to careers, around access to education, and around access to being able to develop. If we read the United Nations rights of the child, we would have seen that one of the rights is the right to development. And that includes being all the way from 0 to 18, being able to develop fully as a mature adult.
Yeah, that's really an amazing introduction. So for now, we are moving on to part one of sessions. So I am curious, what first inspired you to start helping youth for their passion in the digital world?
Sure. So, I think what really got me curious, or like what really got me into the work was because I kept meeting young people who had like giant dreams. They wanted to be doctors, they wanted to be surgeons, but they didn't have any math. I grew up online, so I knew that the internet wasn't just entertainment. Like it was access. Like we could connect with people from across the world. And now I'm connected with 1,100 people through Doctor Interested that want to be a part of medicine. And so that made me see that other kids want like careers here too, and that they also want support here. Now, when I started off early on, I had a lot of mentorship. I had been able to connect with so many people. And so that really gave me a passion in what I'm doing around policy, around mental health, around sports. And when I realized that I could be a mentor to other people and that I could take this online and do it on a much larger scale than I ever could in person, that's what really inspired me to get started there.
Yeah, it seems like you are really enthusiastic and
Yeah,
optimistic.
so I think that's so powerful hearing that's really true why your work mattered. Okay, so sometimes one moment can change the whole direction of our journey. With that in mind, so was there a specific moment when you realize how powerful mentorship and digital asset can be?
Yeah, sure. I feel like the moment that really like, so if you read the doctor's tagline, it's helping every student find their spark. And I had my spark when I got into the idea of policy. I realized I actually like this thing, which before I had thought would be completely boring. Um, and that was kind of like my spark. And when I saw that, like I realized that I actually like working in mental health, in sports, in getting people into the places they need to be, I was I I got passionate about it. And so that moment again for Doctor Interested, it came when we were at school and a few students in grade 9, we were doing I believe a career fair there. And a few students came up asking what sort of things I was doing, and they were really interested.
Um, okay, yeah. So for now, we are moving on to part two, helping you find their passion. So from your experience, what is the biggest challenge young people nowadays might face when trying to find what they truly love in their real life?
I feel like a lot of people decide either they look at everything that's out there and decide to do nothing and just like go through high school without doing any clubs at all. Or on the other side, they decide to do everything because they want to try everything. And well, that's perfectly all right. It gets them so like busy, so anxious with way too much stuff. The biggest challenge right now that young face that fail to very easily be any opportunities to go and actually see what it looks like. Um, and so I feel like also the idea that it's not you're not picking medicine, finance, or law. You're picking specific subfields under it. You're picking whether you want to be a surgeon, what type of surgeon then. You're picking whether you want to be a pharmacologist. That's a completely different path. You're picking if you want to be a dentist or if you want to be a veterinarian, if you want to work in mental health or in policy. So there are so many different paths inside of one path. And especially for those smaller paths, there isn't much opportunity to actually gain knowledge about them. I know personally, when I'm looking at stuff around mental health, like careers in mental health, there isn't much to look at outside of being a psychologist. I don't want to be a psychologist. And I'm looking through it all and I'm like actually seeing that there are some other paths here, but there isn't much opportunity to explore them. And so that is really a big challenge, that idea that it's very hard, very difficult to explore smaller paths inside of fields.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. So, Lily, is your question?
Yeah, so sometimes students uh progressing without realizing it. So I wonder, what are some signs that a student is on the right path, even if they feel unsure?
Yep. So in my opinion, like you don't really need to be on the right path. As long as you love what you're doing, you can always move back and forth. The world is like really easy now to change paths. I know people who like I talk with as like my mentors, they're in med school right now. They used to be doing something completely different. One person used to be pursuing law all the way up until like halfway through undergrad and something, and he switched and he came to medicine. And so if you like what you're doing, that is the right path for you at that time. Because it really is finding what you like to do. And what you like to do is going to change as time goes on. But as long as you like what you're doing, you're able to put in the hours and hours of passion behind it, then you're going to be able to grow in that field and you're going to be able to actually achieve something. And the goal really shouldn't be to become a normal doctor or a normal lawyer. It should become the best doctor, the best lawyer you could be. And so if you love that field, you're going to do the best you can in it. And so I feel like some signs that you're on that right path is if you're putting in those hours and you don't really realize you're putting in those hours. If you're working late at night and you're going to one or two and you don't realize you went to one or two, that probably means that you love what you're doing, that you're actually passionate about what you're doing.
Okay, that's really amazing. So, you know that we are now living in a highly advanced digital world. So, how do digital platforms help you find a passion that they might not have access to in real life?
Yep, that is like a really important topic actually. So digital platforms, they're like really good in terms of connecting people. I know you talk about LinkedIn as that like big sort of adult app where they talk with each other and stuff. But even outside of LinkedIn, Instagram connects you with people from across the world. Um, Facebook is the older version of doing that. And like, but the thing is on Facebook, you're able to find scientists and they're active on there. So I would suggest Facebook if you're looking for certain people. Um, but the thing, if I wanted to talk to someone that's in med school, there's a single med school near me. I would have to probably go at least an hour's ride from here to actually make it to a med school, find someone in med school. I don't think, I have, but if I actually wanted to go out and find a med student, I would need to probably go out for an hour, hope that someone at a campus is willing to talk to me. It'd be very difficult. And so the idea is that like because we're digital now, we're able to put everyone in one server. We're able to find the med students that are actually interested in mentoring, because believe me, there are a few. But we're able to find them and we're able to put them all with the youth in a way that they're able to talk, they're able to meet. And sometimes it's through texting, sometimes it's through meetings like this where they just hop on in a one-on-one call. And so the digital platforms are really helping youth gain that sort of access to people, to knowledge, to things that they wouldn't have in real life. But at the same time, of course, there are downsides to it. We've all heard about all the mental health stuff that goes on because of social media. And that is also a big part of my work, looking at how social media is impacting mental health. And so I feel like using apps in a productive way is probably the best use of our digital space, and it gives you benefits way beyond real life.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's really an amazing point. And for now, we are moving on to part three, the story behind your project, Doctor Interesting. So, uh, have have you ever felt the moment that you think that, yeah, yes, this project is actually making a big difference, creating a useful impact to the whole community that can have the teenagers or youth people? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. So I feel like that moment of like, yes, this is actually making a difference. Yes, we've done it. That came about like 6 months into the project. I had decided when I started it, like I didn't want this to be something that doesn't work, but I'm still putting hours behind it. And so I decided at 6 months I would actually check in, like completely look at everything that's going on. And when I looked at 6 months, like throughout those 6 months, I was just working away, not really looking at how much we're doing, what we're doing. I was just happy we were doing. But at 6 months, when we came back to actually look at what had happened over the last, we called it our semi-annual impact report. And I was going through all the numbers of like the view counts on participation rate for our webinars, and I was actually kind of surprised when I saw it. In the end, I think during that time we had reached was closer to near 50,000 youth. And that number was really surprising because I didn't think that we would have done that much. But when I look back and I add up all the people that are in the webinars, that came to our in-person meetings, that came everywhere, we had actually reached 50,000 people across the world. And that is, first of all, a testament to how important this sort of work is, how much people need this sort of support in their development, in education. But also, it's a testament to the online spaces that we've been able to create. We've been able to make right now a community of 1,200 people on Discord, and everyone on there is able to connect with medical students. Everyone on there is able to connect with other youth. Some people in there are doing technology, some people in there are doing law, and they're still in there to connect with the community that we've built around the idea of healthcare, around the idea of wellness. And so that moment came 6 months in when we looked at our impact, and we actually, I think the whole team was surprised when we saw how much we were able to do in that 6 months.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Like your project is getting many interactions and participations. Yeah. So Lily, it's your turn.
Yeah, so uh, as you know, impact can show up in many forms, sometimes in a message, sometimes during a workshop, sometimes in a small breakthrough. Looking back, what impact are you most proud so far?
Yeah. So the milestone I'm proud of is reaching the thousands of people across the world. But in my opinion, the little stories also matter much more. When we started this, it was behind the idea if we could affect one person's life in a good way, it would have been worth it. And after a few events, we decided to start collecting quotes after events. And we did our just a little backstory here. We did our resilient minds events, which was around burnout. It was right before exams, and the entire team was feeling it. Like we were all super tired, we were studying, and we realized that burnout is a big thing. And I had personally, like one of my first few things I had done in my like sort of research stuff was looking at the effect of stress on memory. And I think we can all assume, but it is negative. It's a very negative effect, especially long term. When you grow up, stress will really degrade your memory. And so we decided that we were going to put on an event and to give people the tools they need to deal with stress, to deal with burnout. And we got funding from the Hershey's company to run it, the chocolate company. We didn't get any chocolate, sadly. But we got the funding from them. We had speakers come in from Jack.org, from the Mood Disorder Society of Canada, and from the Kids Help Phone. And we had, I think it was just 50 youth on an online meeting talking about how we could help with burnout. And one of the quotes we got after was from someone that had participated, I believe, all the way from the other side of Canada. And they were actually from an Indigenous community, according to their sort of self-reporting for their demographics. And they had said that being a part of Doctor Interested, I'm quoting here, especially through the Resilient Minds event, opened my eyes to how mental health and medicine connect. I used to think medicine was just textbooks and biology, but now I see the human side of it too. And like that sort of quote at the end, like made us realize that we've actually done a pretty okay job of helping people explore careers in medicine. Because medicine, the idea of wellness is more than just actual doctors doing doctor stuff with biology. It's also mental health. It's also the idea of what you're eating. It's the idea of if you're getting enough exercise. And all of that comes together to give a better sort of idea of the healthcare area. And so that small quote, even though it was just one person, that was a moment like reading that that actually made me feel like proud that we were able to do that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So next we are moving on to part four, the youth impact and community. So what is something that you learn about leadership through this journey that textbook never test you?
Yeah. So I would say that's a very difficult question, but I think that I would probably, for that, give the idea that leadership, in this case, it taught me that it's okay if you're just learning while leading. I had experience in a bunch of clubs related to medicine beforehand, and so I felt like I had done a little bit of everything. But then I started it, right? And I realized that I still need to learn so much. I didn't understand exactly how to manage a Discord space that big. We had a few issues with moderation that I had to figure out how to do. And at the same time, I realized I had no clue about how to deal with finances. And it was all like I had to learn while leading. And a lot of the time, I was learning from the team. And I feel like textbooks always suggest that you should know a little bit of everything before you begin, but I think it's fine if you're still just learning while leading. Like if you're just learning from your team, if you're doing quick Google searches of what should be happening here, and you're learning what you need to know, and then you're leading, and that's perfectly fine in most cases.
Yeah, that's an amazing viewpoint. Lily, is your question?
So, young leader living in a world changing faster than ever. And from your viewpoint, what mindset uh, do young leaders today need the most?
Yeah. So in my opinion, I think young leaders would need adaptability the most. Right now, the world is pretty wild, like everything's changing super quickly. And at the same time, leading always has the risk of something might not work out exactly how you want it to. And you need to have that adaptability. We've had times where we had a speaker scheduled and oh my goodness, they're running late. And it's the idea that we need to be able to change right away what we're doing. And it's fine to change it a little. You don't always need that perfect plan. You just need the mindset to stay open and to learn very quickly.
Okay, that's a positive mindset that young leaders.
Say, I really agree with that. The right mindset really shape everything.
Yeah, that's a good one. And for now, we are moving on to the final session, giving advice and support youngers. So, if you could give one piece of advice to a student who feels lost about their future, their career path in the foreseeable future, so what would it be according to your experiences?
For me, I would say here, don't pressure yourself to find your like forever purpose. You're not gonna find what you're gonna be doing when you're 50, when you're in high school right now. But I would say instead, start by finding what makes you curious for 5 minutes, stretch it out for a little bit longer. If you want to learn a lot about this one animal in particular, learn about it, stretch it out for a bit. If you want to learn about how mental health works, then learn about it And there are usually courses in schools or even universities nearby sometimes offer courses that you're able to sit in on. Like you don't really need to do anything. You just go there, sit, listen to the professor teach. And I feel like those experiences are valuable once you find something you're curious about, but you need to figure out what it is you're curious about first.
Yeah, that's a useful advice for the youngsters. And the final question, how do you
Yeah.
envision the me as or you as? You as the question.
Okay, so yeah, so the digital world is evolving so quickly. Looking ahead, so how do you envision the future of the youth empowerment and digital mentorship in the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, so I think that in about 5 years, I see mentorship becoming so normal right now because every single person that I know has had a mentor at least once. Now, high schoolers haven't had that chance. We're super early on into what we're doing, and people are like, just learn now, just learn. You don't need to get into stuff right now. But I feel like in 5 or 10 years, hopefully we'll see more organizations, bigger organizations, deciding that mentorship needs to start early on. That a high school student could be paired with a university student, and a university student could be paired with a med student, and everyone could have access to one person who they want to become, who they want to, and then I don't become, but like who they want to follow somewhat in their path and kind of have that sort of guidance that they need. And so I, I feel like at that time, like digital mentorship is going to become much better. And also, we see a lot of AI right now. And I know that we haven't looked a lot into how AI could affect all of this. And I feel like AI has that sort of experience to now be able to talk one on one with people about experiences. And before, it would be a Google search, and you'd be sitting there for about an hour going through every single thing you could about a career. But now you could really learn about a career after one question to ChatGPT or to Gemini. And so that idea as well of exploring these careers really early on, but also really quickly. There are so many careers now that getting through and deciding which one you're actually passionate about is really important. And so the idea that you could use technology to speed that process up and to connect with mentors in the next 5 or 10 years, I think that'll become much more common, much easier to do as well.
Okay, that's a detailed answers. Yeah. Okay. For now, I have an extra question for you. Just only one question. Um, you know that what advice would you give to some young people that when they first start or organize their project, nonprofit community or the community initiative like a podcast or like a blog or something meaningful and to have the whole community, but they don't know exactly what they should do at first. So what's your advice to them?
I would say that just start somewhere. It's better that you start than you just stay planning forever. That planning phase will never end. And my advice would be figure out one small thing you could start with. If it's a blog, figure out one topic you know well enough to write on, and that topic will start the next one. You'll realize that you're after this topic, you want to go into this thing, or you want to go into that or whatnot. And I would say do that. Like start small, start somewhere, but it's really important you start. Don't wait for next week, don't wait for next month. Start today, figure out what you wanted to do. When I started Dr. Interested, I wasn't fully sure what it was becoming. I just knew that I wanted a place where youth could access the mentorship, the education, the support they need to the development early on. And I started it by creating an Instagram. That's all I did. I made an Instagram. It sat there for about a week or so. I added on a Discord. I found 5 people to join it. And it starts really small, but you just have to take that step, put your idea out into the world, and see how the world reacts to it.
Yeah, okay. That's really useful advice, and I hope that it can reach our audiences better. So yeah, this is the end of our talk show today, and I'm so grateful for your having time to share your story, your insights, or your energy have truly added something special to our episode today. Yeah, it's our honor to having you being here. Yeah, that's really
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
Thank you so much for having time with us today. Yeah.